The NFL is starting to tighten up. Just a few weeks ago, we had maybe 3-4 teams that actually had a legit shot at winning the Super Bowl, and Vegas felt the same way. But now there are a few teams that are starting to creep up and give themselves a little bit of a chance of actually winning the whole thing. George, Eric here, brought to you by mybookie.ag. Let's start with the teams that are still in that top echelon and have a legit shot at winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and those teams are going to be the teams that have a better than average chance of getting not only a bye, but home field advantage. So when we talk about the Saints, they're a 32% chance to win the Super Bowl. That's been creeping up. They've been basically our highest odds team for a while here, and the key reason is they have the big win against the Los Angeles Rams, so they have the tiebreaker there. We have them with a 95% chance of getting home field advantage. Our highest team from the AFC is our second highest team overall, which is Kansas City, at a 17% chance, and that's again because they have almost a 3 in 4 chance of getting home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
That is so important, right? Being able to avoid playing in that first week obviously helps your chances, because even if you're a big favorite, stuff happens. We see it every single year.
Yeah.
And so having that extra week of rest, being able to not play that first game, greatly increases your chances, and that's what all 4 of the teams with better than 10% chance of winning the Super Bowl have in their favor. New England, right, a team that has struggled recently, still has a better than 10% chance of winning the Super Bowl because they've got a better than 50% chance of that bye. You see the same thing with the Rams, even though that they have struggled recently as well. Okay, before we get to some of the teams that are creeping their way up there, a reminder that if you want to enjoy the rest of the NFL season or any sporting event that you happen to be watching, you want to head to mybookie.ag. That is the best place to get all of your action down. They make anything more exciting. Use promo code PFF to get a $1 match on your first deposit. It's very simple. PFF plus mybookie.ag. You play, you win, you get paid. All right, the next tier down, these are teams that maybe a few weeks ago we said, yeah, they're good, but they don't have that great of a chance. Finally now, they're starting to play better. Those teams are starting to creep back. And look, they've got a real shot.
Yeah, the Chargers won in Kansas City on Thursday night, so we know that they can accomplish that. They're the other team that basically has all the other probability of getting home field advantage. Were the Chiefs to stumble and they win the AFC West, so we have about a 6% chance to win the Super Bowl. A lot of that is gobbled up in getting home field advantage. Another team, for example, is Houston, which a couple weeks ago, we kind of wondering whether or not they were kind of a paper champion, whether they were good enough to, to go all the way. But now they're in the position for the second seed in the AFC, and while they have a tough matchup here against Philadelphia in Week 16, if they were to get by that, they have Jacksonville Week 17, a first-round bye, could go a long way, towards getting them the Lombardi Trophy.
If you had to take one team that was not one of those clear favorites, that had this sort of outside shot between a 3 and 10% chance of winning, who are you going with?
I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that, obviously they have basically no chance of getting home field advantage, almost no chance of getting a bye. However, we know that Ben Roethlisberger, during the time of his career, has, won a Super Bowl as a 6th seed. He's won another Super Bowl himself as well. They have that kind of offense that I think travels pretty well. They're being undervalued by that 3-game losing streak that we talked about in the video yesterday. They're just a team that I think can possibly string together enough good games to compete. In the AFC, where it's really just kind of Kansas City, who they've beaten before in the playoffs, and New England, who they just beat last week.
If I had to take one, I'm going to go with a similar team in that they have a quarterback from the same draft class, and that, of course, is Philip Rivers. The Chargers are just, they're that team that no one wants to play. They're going to play on the road, which I actually think helps them, because when they're at home, it's like being on the road anyways. And they have more playmakers on the defensive side of the ball than Pittsburgh does, right? They've got Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, and Pittsburgh just doesn't have that. So if you're looking for a team that can make a play in coverage, no matter where they're playing, and also has a strong quarterback on the back end, Philip Rivers has played better than Roethlisberger has so far this season. I'm going to take the Chargers. Now, final question. A real long shot. Team that has just less than 2% chance to win. You're throwing a dart here. Who are you going with?
We're not allowed to repeat from last week, right? So last week, I think we said what, Baltimore or Seattle? Seattle with the quarterback there. Baltimore with this sort of weird offense. For me, it's tough, but I think it still has to be a team like Indianapolis, right? A team, if they get into the playoffs, they have an elite level quarterback. They have what appears to be a really good coach and a defensive coordinator who is capable of shutting out one of the hottest teams in the league last week in Dallas. I think that's a team that if they get in, they can get hot. And we've seen it before. Andrew Luck won 3-4 playoff games his first 3 years in the league. He's capable of doing that. I think that's a very, very dark horse.
Yes, that would be the one that I would choose as well. If I have to go to my next step down, this is real tough. Just go with Philly. They've got St. Nick on their side, so you can't lose that way. All right, for more, head to ProFootballFocus.com and, of course, subscribe to the PFF Forecast.